short and I want to make sure everyone can see me because I present as a job, so I know that it's nice to be able to see everyone that you're talking to. House Valkyries, so we are an all-female house. That doesn't necessarily mean that we fight with each other all the time, but that does mean that we're supporting each other in any way that we can. We're not state-specific or town-specific.
Or even game-specific.
Or even game-specific. We are becoming national, to be honest, and encouraging other women who are doing full combat sports to form a community within whatever group they're in. Ideally, what we're trying to do is strengthen the female community as well as open up leadership roles for women in our sport, as well as Mary mentioned, breaking down any kind of initial barriers that women might have to try to feel welcome on our field, as well as out of field. Not everyone sword fights. We have a lot of other things that you can be a part of. So like I said, we started 4 years ago. We're fairly new. That was our main reason for wanting to even come to Girl Con, at least mine. And now I'm realizing that I have like a whole bunch of merchandise that I'm buying. So I guess something's working. I'm doing it right. But yeah, we're just all about trying to get all of us women together. We form meetings during big national events where we gather together, and it's not just women. If you're a person who believes and sides more with the feminine, then you are welcome within our group. We have dessert time where we just talk about stuff, anything from issues that might be happening in our sport to getting to know each other.
And we're eating ice cream during this
time.
Ice cream.
We're really into desserts. But yeah, pretty much, if you have any questions about what we do and who we are, we come from very, very different backgrounds, all of us. I used to sword fight in Chicago, and I've found a group of women that have just supported me every step along the way these last couple of years, and it's been a fantastic experience, and I don't think I'd be sane during my work hours if it weren't for this downtime that I have and the time that I spend with the ladies that I'm here with today. So, yeah.
Community is awesome. So even though we all live across the country, we are a very tight-knit group, and so I'll tell you, Facebook is awesome for that. You can share, information back and forth, talk about different games that are coming up. There are usually a lot of, there are national events that we have, and then we have local events. And usually in the West, there's a bunch of groups that go to the different games in the West. So we really get to know our sisters in the West of the United States pretty well. One of the things that we want to talk about next is kind of the game mechanics and fighting mechanics. There are a few differences, and like we said, one of the things that we want to do is to bring women into this and help them feel empowered to be good fighters, to not be afraid to go out on the field, and to be able to be just as aggressive as anybody else, any other fighter that's on the field. And so we have some really, really awesome fighters that are good with the body mechanics. And Cypress, would you mind going over that and kind of going over the hit system, how that works, people dying, when you've got to take your hits, all of that kind of stuff. And then we'll do a demonstration kind of showing you how the game mechanics work when you are fighting on the field. And it's very simple, which is good. You don't want to be like, I've played games where you have 374 hit points, and then somebody swings a 17-plus sword at you, and you've got to do math in your head while you're running around trying to not get killed. So this one is much simpler.
Thank you. And I just wanted to point out that a bunch of our panelists and people here supporting us today have traveled from Utah, Colorado, Oregon, and Seattle. So we have a lot of, and 20 minutes north states. We have a lot of states representing Valkyries right now. So I'm talking a little about our hits, how we take our hits, a little bit about mechanics, because I understand that over here we're just going to go basic. So pretty much what happens is either limbs, it's 2 limbs or torso for death. So let's say arm, leg. She's dead. She's way dead. And then
what happens if I take your leg?
So why did you drop your sword, Gaia?
Why would I drop my sword when she hit my arm? What do you guys think?
if she was counting her armor, her arm would not be gone because her shot just hit her arm.
So armor gives you 1 extra hit, we should say. So, okay, and then if you get 1 hit to the torso, which pretty much hits off your, pretty much like right here on your body.
Think of like a Ken doll, you know, where their arms are attached.
And your groin.
If it moves, it's limb.
Yeah, and definitely your groin area,
Oh,
and your butt and your hips. So that's considered your torso. That is automatic death. Unless she was hit with leather armor, that gives you an extra hit, which is why we wear leather armor.
You never show them the leg thing.
Okay, and so when you get hit in the leg, you go down automatically. You do not hop on your leg, and you have to go down and drag your leg behind you. You can't use it. Some people roll. There's no room for her to roll, but always looks cool. Do that.
You're gonna make me roll.
And then with shields, you're allowed to shield bash. Oh, I should also mention the biggest important thing here: you do not hit to the head or to the neck, ever. And if you do, you yell head or neck.
Don't actually mock it, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, with shield bashing, you're allowed to edge. You're allowed to slam. You're allowed to hit, hold. You just can't hit someone in the head audibly. That's pretty much the only thing you can't do. And you can't run from behind and shield bash someone in the back.
You can kick it.
You can kick it, and you can kick. You can shield kick. And so, and some other basic shots. There's different types of shots that you can throw. There's your basic straight-on shot, and then there's your wrap shots. And a lot of those mechanics, you're gonna use. You don't ever really use your wrist. You don't want to use your wrist at all. You're using it from your arms and your hips. You're using a lot of the powers from your hips, woman. You think before your hips. Use your power in your hips. That's where you're going to get a lot of your power from. And I don't want to go too depths into things. Is there anything else?
You want to try different weapons?
Yeah, why don't we talk about a little bit about the different weapons and
and
why
yeah,
we fight with
different.
those?
And then there's spear. So where would you think you would want to do with the spear? Try and block it and get in fast?
What would I do, guys?
Or,
Okay, so we have to turn backwards. Hands up for backwards. Go backwards.
What do you think
Okay.
I do?
Hands up for going shielded. Okay, so he thinks, So we have somebody who understands you move forward on the pole arm. That's a good one, step 1.
So what should I do if she does that?
Yeah, good question.
Go
Go for the legs. Take away her mobility. This is exactly
and
right.
if you get stabbed in the leg, that actually doesn't count towards one of your limbs.
You still have to go down.
It's just, you can't use it. So you can get pierced in your arm, and your arm, and your leg, you just can't do anything.
Who here's seen Monty Python?
Yeah.
Okay, so that can actually happen on a Belegarth field. It rarely does.
And you just flail
It's
around.
hilarious because you can just be like the talking, like, and just yell at people. Dead don't talk. So talk to each other.
And when fighting with things like the polearm and stuff, you know, a lot of the groups or units use battle tactics on the field. So you might have, you know, a wall of shield fighters, and then you would have the polearm behind. So of course, as soon as the shield fighter engages the person in front of them, the polearm person's going to go behind, above, around, under, and you know, try and stab that next line of individuals. So there really is, you know, you can, depending on the weapons that you want to use, is kind of going to depict where you want to be in the line or when you're fighting. One of the really cool things that we have is archers. And seriously, how many of you guys wanted to shoot bow and arrows at your friends and not put their eyes out, right?
So with
Here
archery,
you can.
with archery, it's really, really cool. It's one of the only weapons you're allowed to hit people in the face with. There are javelins you can use, which I don't know if you guys ever played Diablo and the Amazon. She throws javelins. We have javelins. We don't have one here, but you're able to hit people in the face with those by throwing them a certain distance. So with archery, it's similar, and you're allowed to hit people in the face, neck. It's safe. They're safe. They're tested. These are one of the biggest tested things along with the bow. And
Yeah, there's rules on how to draw. How hard
You're
you
going
can
so
pull
far
this.
away because the front of the arrow will make the arrow bounce.
And the back is not padded, as some of you guys noticed. So that's the most dangerous part of the game, is the back of that arrow. So we don't want anyone to get. I don't
Your face. Just kidding.
So she's going for the face is death, and the torso is automatic death. But if she were to hit in the limb, it would just count as she would just won't be able to use that limb.
hit her in the
So
head.
they really fly. Hey, where are you going? They don't have a shield.
And so people that wear helmets in the game, they are immune to arrows if they get hit in the face. So it's automatic protection from arrows.
Another reason to have great costumes.
So if you remember earlier, we said your head was not a legal target area for anything that is swung with the body, because that can generate full force. We have special rules for our projectiles, of which there are only 2. There is the arrows, and then a javelin, which we did not bring. But again, imagine a very small sphere. These actually are made out of PVC, because flex doesn't matter, no force is generated on them. PVC is a good one. What's the third? Oh, rocks! And rocks! I forgot. Rock. If this was smaller, say in full size, covered in fur would be legal too. Hobbits, young kids, can have rocks, and those are also head legal. But apart from those things, everything else is not head legal, which means on a field full of archers, you have an entirely different type of strategy that you need to implement. Again, it's a strategy game in the long term.
There's also just one more weapon we don't have here to mention. There's red swords, which is a 2-hand sword that you swing with. It can be as big as that, but there's just more padding, so you can use the whole edge. And a lot of times you can break shields with the 2 swords if you jolt the
We're
shield
very
hard enough.
disappointed we can't show this right now.
Yeah, sorry we can bring a red. The reds are kind of cool.
Yeah, we might be 4 feet long.
Just look for a big guy going like this, like a huge thing, and they'll smash down. Or if you Google Belegarth, one of the first things that pops up on YouTube is for us from FantasyCon this last year, which is like 90% spears and reds. So you'll see it. If you end up Googling it, you'll find it.
One of the things too that we didn't mention at the beginning here is that because this game is a full contact sport, you must be 16 years or older to play. So I know, buddies, you're gonna have to get a sword and practice. And when you're 16, you're gonna kill people. It'll be great. You'll be the best sword fighters on the field. So, because think about it, when you're in the heat of battle and stuff, and these guys are going hard and fast, and sometimes you've got 2 shield lines coming together and smashing on the field, some of the fighters would accidentally run over small children or step on them and break their legs, and then they feel really bad. That's a red. That's my husband. We have matching chompies. We're fashionably awesome that way. So now Acorn is going to cover a little bit about kind of the background and where we're going with girls in foam fighting.
Oh, sure. Yeah.